friendship. I even sang the little song before we started.
Yeah, it was good.
She says it's good. She didn't know what I was singing. I was singing Whitney Houston, Count on Me.
Oh, that's what you were singing.
Next time I'll let you know. My singing was not that bad. Okay.
Just play the music with her next time. She'll get it. Seriously.
Sweet. So, this topic, we just felt it just tugging on us over and over and over again. Like with Hey Girl Hey, one thing that we prayed for in the beginning of this is that we would be able to reach more women and connect with more women, as well as grow stronger through our friendships throughout the time. So we're like, hey, it's time to do friendship. So here we are.
Yeah. And we are all hardwired for love and belonging. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's in us all that we need that community.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I think for me, just going through the process and kind of what brought me to this place of really wanting to do friendship is I know what it's like to look at a group of friends and say, I wish I had that. Like, I wish I had that community. Yeah. And then realizing that we have an awesome friendship. We have an awesome community we're in. I don't want anyone else to look at us and want what we have.
Right.
Like, I want to be more of an includer. Yeah. I want to be intentional with the people around me. And I think the biggest thing that holds me back from doing that is my own fears of, they don't want to hang out with me, they're too busy, or like they're just, it's my own fears that holds me back from reaching out to people and loving on them and welcoming them into my friendships and being an includer.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's almost like comfort, you know, like when you have your girls around you, it's comforting. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I know we've talked about before, like whenever we meet new people or introducing ourselves, like we feel awkward. Yeah. Like we're like, okay, there's weird pauses. There's like all these things, like that's just uncomfortable, you know? And so it's like, we just have to like push through that to actually meet some pretty awesome people. Yeah. You know, and just include people in, you know, like, or clique or circle or whatever you
whatever you want to call it.
Whatever people call it, you know, like I feel like we can label cliques and things like that too. So
one thing that I've noticed, like the stronger my walk is with God, like I know how you said in the beginning, one word that jumped out to me is just how we need community. Like if you look at Candace prior to like going after Christ, I am the cut it off girl, okay? Like you make me mad or you make me feel any type of way, friend or not, I'm like, okay, I'm done with that. I don't want to fight. I don't want to do any of that stuff that was awkward, too much work. And it's like the stronger my relationship gets with him, it's like the more ladies I want to hang out with, because I've always been friendly and wanting friends, but I never wanted the work behind it. Like when it got tough, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm good, next. And now it's just like, okay, I want to work through anything, but then I want to be her friend. I want to hang out with her. And oh my gosh, don't be eating by yourself. I want to come sit with you. Like I just want that so much, you know? So,
well, I think too, like, you know, sometimes we just always like believe these lies of like, or I have, let me just rephrase that. Okay. I have had trouble in the past of, you know, believing, I feel like worldly views about friendship, just because I feel like, you know, the world tells us that if someone doesn't make an effort or they don't call you or try to hang out with you and things like that, like I feel like, the world tells us to cut them off, you know, maybe build that wall.
Right.
And when
or you're not worthy or you're not worth
like
it.
Usually it's an attack to us or it's an attack to them. Yeah. You know, like, and I feel like those lies just flow in, or they did for me. And really, like, life is busy. Like, you throw kids in the mix, you work full time, like, you know, it's just busy. Like, I mean, all the things. And there's been times that I've, like, put those walls up and I've actually missed out on some of my really good friends, you know, just because of those lies I was believing. And it's definitely like, you're not worthy of them reaching out. You're not, I don't know, worth it. You know, same thing. Yeah. But, you know, just, it's just so many things I think the enemy likes to tell us just to cause those wedges in between us, you know? Sure.
Yeah. I think that's where he gets us, is he, like, if he can sneak in a thought into my mind that about my friendships, then, and if I can grab onto that and start believing it, as long as I'm keeping whatever I'm believing in the dark, like that's going to fester and grow, and it ends up ruining my relationships, or it ends up keeping me back from deepening my relationships or making more friendships.
Yep.
So, I think it's really important in our community to like make sure that we're constantly staying open to each other. Like instead of me getting offended at something or having this thought of something that's going on, I think it's really good for when we sit down together and say, hey, like, I just want to check this with you because this is the way I'm perceiving it.
Yeah.
And then you can speak into me and let me know, like, is that a lie that I'm believing, or is that really truth? And then let's talk through it. Like that is what a healthy community looks like. Is like we have each other's backs.
And it's a tough step to take. It's a tough step to be vulnerable and be like, hey, I'm feeling this type of way, or my feelings were hurt here, or
it just brings up those insecurities.
Yeah,
too. And
yeah.
It's like I feel like we try to hide, like we talked about before, just try to hide those, and then to be vulnerable in that place also, like you said, is so hard.
It is, but it's so worth it. Like there'll be plenty of times where you just put it all out on the table, and you get up from that table and you realize that it was just some stuff that the enemy planted in your mind, and it is lies and it's no truth to it, and it's just like, oh, okay, and there's the relief, and then you can move on and grow, and it's just so good.
Yeah, something that I really thought about with friendship is like we have to remember that we are all under attack. It doesn't matter if we're believers, doesn't matter if we're non-believers.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a spiritual warfare, and I feel like for me, like my words and thoughts have always been something I've struggled with, and especially around friendship.
Yeah.
And so it's like we have to recognize those lies, and we have to fight against them and push through them, and because it can actually really impact just some awesome friendships, and just even people that you probably wouldn't even think you were could be friends with. It's like just the lies that we hear, doing things with other people.
Yeah. One question that I want to ask, and it's just like kind of just take a pause, is I just want for you to think, like right here before we move on a little bit, is what is keeping you from asking one of the ladies that you have church with, or you see around town or in neighborhood, out for coffee, or joining a life group full of women's, or attending a gathering full of women? What is the one thing that the enemy is telling you to keep you from doing that? Like, I just want to think about that, because if I were to ask myself that, it would most definitely be the fear of not being accepted. For me, like, I am loud, I am hyper, and I am just all over the place. And then sometimes I can just be damper and be very emotional. And then this one over here is like, hey, what are you doing? Why didn't you jump on Facebook Messenger? Why haven't I heard from you today? What are you doing? Like,
I might be borderline annoying. I've accepted that. Like, you have to accept your weird friends, okay? Like, you
embrace them.
Yeah, embrace. And I embrace their weirdness too.
Right.
I'm not weird.
We're not accepting ours yet. But that's the one thing that will keep me from stepping out and inviting someone to coffee, is just, are they going to accept me in my different areas, in my highs and my lows? That's me.
I think for me, I look at people and I think they're so different than me.
Yeah.
Like
they're so hip and cute, and
maybe their lifestyle is different, or what they do for a living, or they're just so different from me and my friends that I don't know how I could fit in with them. I don't know what I would talk about. And I think that's one thing. And for me, being intentional with people around me and loving on them, I have to push past that fear of, like, it's okay to be different.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and it's okay if they don't accept you. It's okay if they don't really, like, want you around. Like, that is okay. Like, not everybody's going to want us around.
Yeah.
No?
I mean, I might annoy some people really bad. Like, y'all embrace me. But, I might really tick some people off or something. I'm not annoying,
It's so important to not just jump to that inclusion.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Very important.
Inclusion.
Conclusion. Conclusion from the inclusion.
My mom brain today is bad.
Whatever.
I knew that sounded bad.
But don't let that rejection stop you. Like that fear of rejection. Because I know that's me. The fear of being rejected for whatever reason. Like, don't let it stop you, because it can be awesome. It can turn into some great things. You may have a friend that just pops up on your doorstep at 10 o'clock in the morning and you didn't want them to be there.
Yeah.
You know, not gonna say who did that, but
who did that to me.
Anyway.
But I had that exact situation come up recently, and it's like, the enemy is so sneaky with how, like, I always think about how I'm just going to catch onto his lies. Like, I'm going to know when he's lying to me. We're going to know when those lies are coming in. But it doesn't work like that. Like, he is so sneaky.
Yeah.
And we had a friend that we were hanging out with that I remember meeting with my mentor and saying, this girl does not like me. She's hanging out with my group of friends, but I don't know, like, she just does not like me. And so I never thought that maybe that was a lie or said anything to her. I just thought, like, she just doesn't like me, and so I'm just going to get over it, and not everyone has to like me. Like, I immediately just jumped to that conclusion. And then recently this girl came to me and said, I have to admit to you that I just never thought you liked me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, and I'm just, part of me is like embarrassed that I wasn't the first one to do that. Like, I missed out on having more of a friendship with somebody because I immediately just assumed that person didn't like me.
Yeah.
And that happens often, you know, like, I think all around the board, you know, across the board. I mean, it's just those lies. I'm just so tired of the lies. Like, believing them, and just that you don't fit in, or they have their group, and you know you're not going to fit in that group, or they don't need you,
or this step is not worth it.
Yes.
Doing that is not worth it. Having your kids is enough, or having your husband is enough. Like, my husband has always been very good about saying things to me like, I do not understand what you're feeling right now. This may need to be something that you discuss with your friends. Like, I hate that you're feeling that way, but I don't know what you're talking about. You know, he's been very good about saying, like, branch out. You have your friend girls for this. I'm praying for y'all, for your friends, for this reason specifically. So, you know, try to reach out to them. But friendship is such a gift. And like Psalms 133 verse 1 says, how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. Like, it's just so great for us to be able to have
that scripture.
Did you?
I was like, wait a second. That sounds familiar.
I got it.
No, she got it.
And another one that was really good. I wonder if you got
Do
this
not
one.
have this one too.
Was John chapter 15 verse 13. No one has greater love than this, that one lays down his life for his friends. And at first I was like, I mean, is that good? Will I lay down my life for my friends? And like, I felt God telling me necessarily, like, it doesn't mean like take a bullet for your friends, because that's what I thought. Like, I'm not
You gonna lay down for us?
I'm not gonna take a bullet for y'all. Just saying. But like, will I lay down those insecurities? Will I lay down that fear of rejection to be able to reach out and be vulnerable with my friends and let you guys know when I need you, or when I'm struggling with something, or when I don't want you to be eating by yourself, I want you to come hang out with us. Like, when we say we want to do coffee with y'all, like, we mean it. You know?
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like John chapter 15:13 says, is that, yes, I'll lay down my life for my friends. And it is a great gift, just like in Psalms 133 verse 1 says.
Yeah. So good.
It is.
Well, and I think something too that we need to remember is a lot of times we might try to make friendships happen that probably don't need to happen. Like, it might not be a God-given friendship.
Okay.
And of course, I'm going to say we need to pray about our friends.
Yes.
Okay?
Pray about it.
Yeah, and like I really prayed about like a strong community to be around me, to like pray for me during my hard times, because I know what it's like to be isolated and to feel like you're all alone. And so, but then again, you don't want the wrong people around you that's not going to, you know, kind of support you in that and grow you, you know, like, I think we've talked about like people that we might have around us that just tell us what we want to hear.
Yeah.
And we don't want that all the time. And sometimes we want it, but we don't need it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I am greatly appreciative that you guys are not like that. Like, you stretch me and you challenge me to be, you know, a better Christian, a better friend, a better mom, like those things. Like, so yeah.
Yeah. I think going along with that, it's also important to remember that, like, we have our inner circle, people who, like, we can just like let down all walls, be totally vulnerable with. And not everyone has to be in that inner circle.
Right, yeah.
But that doesn't, inner circle and community are not the same thing. So like living in community with each other, like we can all be friends and we can share life together and just be there for each other. But it doesn't, I feel like some of us, well, me, some of us, I feel like I have been like an all or nothing. Like either it's inner circle or nothing at all. And I don't want to be that person. Yeah. Like I think of the way Jesus lived life, and he was a friend like no other. Like he was an includer, and he was very intentional with the people around him. Yeah. And I want to be that person. It's just that the fears get in my way. Yeah. And I think another thing that has helped me with realizing some of these fears is realizing I wasn't the only one having them. Yeah. So, like I had mentioned before, that one thing I'd really struggled with moving to Arkansas was the feeling of not belonging or not fitting in. And I remember sharing that with a friend who is really close to me, and just telling her that, like, I struggle with this, like, it's not that big of a deal, but it's just something I struggle with. And she was like, I'm really sorry you struggle with that, because I struggle with that. And this is a person that I would have never guessed that. Like, everyone knows you, everyone loves you. I would have never guessed that you felt that way. And so that really opened my eyes to, wow, that's really a struggle that's pretty common with people. Like, more people have that struggle than I'm realizing. It's not just me that feels like I'm not fitting in, or I'm hungry for that community, but I'm not getting it.
Yeah. But I think it's also very good that you take that step. Yeah. Like you took that step in being in Arkansas and joining a life group or whatever it was, a mom group or anything, to just take that first step to be able to build those connections.
Right. Yeah, that's the hardest part, is the step.
Yeah.
But I feel like that comes along with obedience as well. You know, like, I mean, he calls us to be in community. You know, and I know I mentioned Ecclesiastes like 4:9-12 before. Yeah. Just talking about how two are better than one, and they can help each other succeed. You know, if one person fails, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Yeah. You know, and I remember being that person that I fell alone, and it was not good. Like, I mean, it's like that can bring on depression. It can bring on anxiety. It can bring on so many things. You know, and it just said, likewise, two people, you know, lying close together keep each other warm. So it's like we have to at least have that one person, you know. Yeah. But then, you know, of course, you know, it talks about the triple braided sword, or triple braided cord, not a sword, not cutting anybody. Not a sword, I don't know. But you know how it's just strong and it can't be broken. Yeah. And so I just think of that as like community, like, you know, because whatever, I can't pray for myself, like I need someone praying for me. Yeah. You know, and likewise, you know, and so I just feel like it's so important.
It is. I wish that I had my cell phone, but I don't know where it is. But this morning, when I was not answering the phone this morning, Steph sent me a text message just that she was praying for things that I've opened up to her for maybe over the past couple weeks. She just threw it all out there, just like, I just want you to know that I'm praying for your job, I'm praying for your faith, and I'm praying for you, you know, not to grow weary in this stage that you're in. Just random, like, and very appreciative of just needing that boost. Like this morning, I was kind of everywhere and not just myself, and that was just a good, you know, reminder of just like, I'm so thankful to have a friend who is praying for me. But
see, I didn't even know that. You know, it's funny because like the enemy, she didn't even answer her phone, so I just had to text her. But you know, I really, for me, like I had to fight the enemy in that too. Like whenever I felt like I needed to text you this morning, and but then it was like, okay, you're just this Bible beater. Like they don't want to hear you. You're praying all the time, you know, all this stuff. You know, the lies that come in, like it's insane. Yeah. But it's like I've recognized them, and I'm like, no. I'm not listening to that. Like that does not line up with His word. You know, and so it's like we have to fight that. We have to be disciplined. You know, to have deeper relationships. We have to be disciplined with our thoughts, with our actions, with our time. You know, allow to be vulnerable, and talk about our insecurities, all the things I feel like we've kind of touched base on. It kind of goes like hand in hand with these relationships. Like we have to have all those things. Yeah. So,
and you have to be intentional. If you want that community, you have to step out and reach out for it and not let the lies hold you back from it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, there's been times I've been like, you know, if I'm supposed to have friends, they'll come to me. You know, or Lord, just bring them to me. You know, and it's like, I mean, we have to step out. I mean, you have to make yourself available. You have to go to that life group, and don't believe the lies. And, you know, when you're at that life group, that you don't need to be there, or you don't fit in, or they, I mean, these are just things that I hear, and I know better, you know, and it's like, it just, it bothers me so bad that people believe these lies all the time, because I can see how easy it is for me, even though I know they are lies.
Yeah.
You know,
I started jotting down some notes about things to remember about friendship, and a few of them is just friendship is a gift from God. He doesn't want us to be doing this alone. You know, He's called us and He's blessed us with these friendships. Like, y'all are a blessing, and grace and mercy is needed. I'm going to fail sometimes or hurt your feelings, and I'm going to need that grace and that mercy and that forgiveness. And that's the part that I've struggled with the most in friendship.
Well, and you know, conflicts too.
It's good.
We're gonna have them.
Yeah,
we have had them.
We have had them.
Yeah. It's just, it's gonna happen, and you have to. Like me, like my old self was like, oh, if those conflicts come, then like, oh, they're not my people. I'm like, you know, like, see you later. Like, you know, I can't do this right now. This is too sticky. Like, I can't run to this mess. Like, I don't have time for mess.
Yeah. I feel like they have totally made, like, they make us stronger. Yeah, like, to be able to get past those conflicts and to be able to learn about each other a lot more and know how we think and just be like, okay, look, let's bring it back to the table, reel it back, start from scratch. What is going on? You know, like it's that relationship need, like it is a relationship. Yeah. It's okay to be vulnerable. And one thing that I think is the most important about friendship is remembering that the enemy does not want you to have them. Like, he wants you to be alone so that he can tear you apart and he can break you down and make you depressed and have you being anxious and not having anybody to pray for you when you don't feel like praying. Like, he wants you to be in that place.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, in that place, like, you feel like you're all alone, and really, like, if you just reach out to one friend and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this, like, they would be praying for you. But you do feel isolated in that place. Like, I mean, it's insane how my thoughts were in that place, like, just defeated, you know, like, I don't know, like, I could never get out of that hole, you know, and so it's like, that first step is huge.
Yeah. And worth it.
Yeah.
Well, friends, I hope you have enjoyed hanging with us today and learning a little bit more about friendship. We want to hear from you guys. We want to pray for you. Email us at heygirl.hey20@gmail.com, or send us a message on Facebook or Instagram, or see us at church and ask us to go to coffee or accept our coffee dates.
Yes. I'd love to go to Blue House with you.
We know that. Give this girl an excuse, okay? We love you guys so much. See ya.
Bye. Bye.